All right. Okay, we're gonna get started, and Derek's out of town, so we're not missing him, and I think we're good. Okay, so what we're gonna go over is payroll authorizations and the importance of it, how to explain payroll authorizations and do those correctly, and then how to create deduction spreadsheets and the whole process amongst deduction spreadsheets, okay? So what I want to start with saying is there's really three parts to what we do, three big parts, okay? There's the prospecting and closing, which is like you guys went through training class, you guys learned how to, qualify your leads, go into businesses, meet the decision maker, present, close those businesses, right? So that's piece one, because without closed businesses, the end result's not happening, right? So that's piece one. Piece two is setting up the enrollment. So now you close that business, and that doesn't really mean much, because if the employees don't even know that you're coming, right, then you might not have a successful enrollment. If we don't have a successful enrollment, we're not going to write AP, right, which is again the end result, right? Okay, so the second piece is setting up that enrollment. That's what you guys went over Monday. Yes, Monday. Like, which day is it? Yeah. So setting up the enrollment, very, very, very important, right? That the employees know ahead of time. We get the employee announcement flyers, all those things, okay? Then you go to the enrollment, which you learn that, right? Enrolling. How does that work when an employee approaches you? How do you input their information in the e-app? How do you write down quotes or whatever, okay? Okay, so now you've enrolled the employee. Now this is the last piece, which is the button-up piece, okay? So let me stress the importance of this last piece, because you can do everything fantastic, but if those payroll or the deductions don't begin by the payroll lady, and those deductions, and even if they are started, if those deductions are never sent to Liberty National, it doesn't matter that you close that business. It doesn't matter that you wrote that AP, because if Liberty National never gets paid, then they're going to charge that business back from you, because they paid you on something that home office never got the money. So it's very, very, very important, this last piece, that you do it correctly, okay? The other thing I want to stress with it is, what happens if we don't do this part well, it creates billing issues, okay? And that's, I'm not gonna lie, a huge part of what ADs do is kind of cleaning up billing issues, because billing issues are gonna happen. We want to be proactive and try to prevent billing issues. And so what causes billing issues? Forgetting to put somebody on this spreadsheet, and then they end up on an invoice, and the payroll lady's like, hey, you're invoicing me for Sam Smith, but you never got me the deduction. So deductions never started for him. And now Sam Smith thinks he's covered. Deductions never, what a mess, right? Okay, that's what happens. Or let's say you create the deduction spreadsheet, and the premium for that person is $10.20, and you accidentally mistyped it and put $9.20. And now the payroll person inputted $9.20, but we're billing her for $10.20. That causes problems, right? And now the payroll lady's like, oh, like, your invoice doesn't match what I deducted. And then we're making her job hard, right? And if you make the payroll lady's job hard, is she going to be a fan of ours? No. No. So this is a really, I'm just saying all of this is it's a really important piece. So make sure you guys are paying close attention to what I'm going to go over. Okay. So the first thing I want to start with is payroll authorization. So, and Tommy, if you don't mind just giving them a payroll authorization. And Shayston, I don't know if you have a payroll authorization, right? Shayston should have payroll authorizations. Maybe not. Okay. She does, because I'm going to share my screen so you can see one. And Bailey, I'm going to go over it. Okay. And Diana's sharing it so you guys can see a payroll authorization. Okay. And it's called salary redirection and payroll authorization agreement. So this is what you have the employee physically sign. Okay. Kind of self-explanatory. After you enroll and they say, yes, I would like to have some group term to 100, and I'd like to do the accident protector max on my whole family. We're going to use that as an example. Okay. The first thing is you put the employee's name on the line, and it says, employee, understand that my employer, and then that line is the business name. So you write that in. Okay, we'll say ABC company, okay? And then down middle of the page, you'll see spouse and children. The only time you really need to write that in is if they are covering the spouse and if they're covering their children. So like if you're, let's say I do have a family, but I'm only getting life insurance on myself and I'm not covering my family. I mean, you technically don't have to put their information there. Okay, or you can fill it out. It doesn't hurt if you do. I'm just wanted to emphasize that. And then this middle box is where you input those payroll authorizations. And then you'll see two big columns. You'll see column 1, it says section 125 pre-tax benefits. And then on the next column, it says after-tax benefits, okay? So basically, it's kind of self-explanatory. These are the pre-tax ones, and these are the post-tax ones. So let's talk about what's pre-tax and what's post-tax. What's pre-tax is any coverage on the employee. So like group term 2-100 that the employee writes on himself, paid up at 65 on himself, okay? Cancer endurance, accident protector max on where the employee is covered. Intensive care, they're all listed here. These are the pre-tax ones. What's post-tax is if an employee gets life insurance on their spouse. That's a post-tax deduction. So they do group term 2-100 on a husband. That's post-tax, okay? Or let's say, I just want to get the accident protector max only on my husband because he does four-wheeling and I'm on a strict budget and he's the one that's accident prone and I don't really think I would use it. I just want it on him. You'll see accident protector max, and it's even in parentheses, spouse, dependents, if employee's not covered, okay? Then you make that a post-tax deduction. The other two that are post-tax are cash cancer and critical illness, because those are lump sum benefits that pay out tax-free to the employee. So if the employee is covered on cash cancer or critical illness, then that's a post-tax deduction. Okay, so you write it in there. And then down at the bottom, total pre-tax deductions, like on Diana's screen, it says 31.94. You basically total them up, put it there, and then you total up what's post-tax and you put it in that box, okay? And then underneath it, you'll see account number. That's the franchise number. Every business that you guys close is going to issue a 5-digit franchise number. That's what you put in the e-app. That's what you write, you know, you put the account number in there and that's what you write each of the employees under. So it gets invoiced to that franchise number. So it all flows that way. So you put that franchise number. First deduction date. So what month are we in right now? May. Let's say May is the open enrollment period. When would the first deduction be then? Okay, great. So you'd put 6/1 of 23 there. Okay, let's pretend open enrollment is May and June. So I'm in May, I'm in open enrollment, but it runs through the end of June. What would you put there? July. Okay, so now you guys get it. So you always have to pay attention to the open enrollment time. And it's the first payroll of that very next time you put in there. And then you put premiums are deducted weekly, bi-weekly, semi-monthly, monthly. That's kind of self-explanatory. You'll know that going in. That's what these rates are based off of. Okay, so in Diana's example, it's weekly. Okay. Okay, so now you have that filled out. You've enrolled the person, they want life insurance on themselves and the family accident protector max. Okay, so I want you guys to actually fill this out. So go ahead and put your name on the line. Pretend you just wrote somebody. So go ahead, put the name on the line, put the business name as ABC company. Okay, it's a group term to 100. I'm the employee. Is that pre-tax or post-tax? Pre-tax. So in group term to 100, let's pretend my premiums are $10.20. So go ahead and write that in. I'll change it. 1022. And then under accident protector max, I have the family accident plan. Is that pre-tax or post-tax? Pre-tax. Okay, let's pretend the rate is $6.24. Okay, so the total would be $16.46. Franchise number, account number is 38489. I'm enrolling in the month of April. Okay, so what would be the first deduction date?
May 1st.
Good. So write in 5/1/23, and then we'll pretend the premiums are weekly. Okay, so you fill that out right after you enroll the employee. Now we're gonna explain this, and I wanna go over that verbiage of how you explain it and have them initial and sign. Okay? Okay, so basically after I have them choose whatever, you know, they want the life insurance accident plan, so this is your transition. Now I kind of forget. Basically, you just say, so I just need to get 4 initials and a quick signature, and this is your payroll authorization form. And basically what this is saying is, these benefits are pre-tax. So because of that, you stay enrolled in the program the entire year unless you have a qualified status change. That's what this big paragraph is saying. Okay, you guys see? It's saying a qualified status change. So you're just informing the employee that they do need to stay enrolled in this program the whole year unless they have a qualified status change. So it's just making sure you're disclosing that. And then I always like to point out, so this is for your life insurance and this is for your accident plan. And you're covered as soon as this gets submitted to our home office, but you won't see that first deduction until May. So I just need 4 initials on those 4 short lines and then sign right here. And normally while they're doing that, guys, I'm getting their folder ready. So then I'm like, you know, whatever papers I have, I'm going to put in their folder, put my business card, you know, I'm getting their folder ready. And then what you want to do after you have them initial and sign, you take the pink copy off. Okay, let me back up. So this has 3 pages to it, okay? The white page at the very bottom, white home office, so that's home office's page. Canary, which is yellow, is the employer. So that would be the payroll lady, and then the pink one is the employee. So when you get done having them sign it, you take the pink copy off, put it in the employee's folder so they have a copy, okay? When you get done with your enrollment, you take the yellow copies and you're supposed to put them in the blue book, okay? Because it's a new, we're just gonna pretend this is a new open enrollment, okay? So now they have a physical copy of them, and then you have the white copies. Okay, now a lot of times after the enrollment, I take all these with me, you know, if I don't have the blue book ready, you know, and then when the blue books, you know, then you detach them, put them in, and then that's a whole separate meeting, but we're not going to train on that. We're just going to train on this part and then inputting it into the deduction spreadsheet. Okay, so that's how you fill out that payroll authorization. Any questions? Okay, one thing else I want to point out is it says new employer cost per pay period. There's 2 columns. You'll see new employer cost per pay period and existing employee cost per pay period. Okay. When you're at an enrollment, if it's a new enrollment, obviously that's all goes in here. The existing employer cost is if you're doing a re-enrollment. You can put in their old, like the original existing deductions in that column. And then if they sign up for new, like let's say you upsell them on their life insurance, you put it in the new column.
Hey Amanda,
Okay.
where do I put the pre-tax savings number? Remember how I was telling them that they get to save 25%? Where do I put that on this form?
You don't put that on this form at all.
Nowhere?
No,
I don't put that anywhere on the form.
no.
The pre-tax number should not be on the form anywhere.
Okay. So yes, so just what goes on this form is what's going to be payroll deducted. They're going to get the tax savings when it's pre-tax because it'll come out of their gross pay. So that's how that works. Okay. Any other questions on how to fill this out?
It definitely will mess people up. Like they won't know. They'll be very confused. If you guys have it like in parentheses and stuff, that's only on your scratch paper if you're writing it down. It has messed up.
Yeah.
It has messed up plenty of deduction spreadsheets. Yes.
Yes.
As an AD, like I don't mess you up.
I was slightly distracted with it coming through and moving. So just to be clear, that doesn't go anywhere on there, just the number, that's the real.
Yes.
And the reference for the
Yeah.
employee.
Just so they can wrap their mind around like, oh my gosh, that $5 difference or $10 difference. like, instead of that money going to Uncle Sam for taxes, it's actually paying for my benefit.
Got it.
So it's just kind of like to illustrate, like, I mean, that's significant savings by it. So anytime a benefit's pre-tax, like, people should take advantage of it. And so you're just trying to like get them to understand that. That's why we write it down to show them.
Yeah.
But
But the numbers on this
on
thing
here,
should match your e-app.
yes.
Yes.
So when you're looking at the signed app and you're getting ready to sign it, they should match. If they don't match, then you've got a problem.
Okay, now let's pretend this is a brand new franchise. Okay, now I did my enrollment and I have 10 of these. Okay, 10 people enrolled in all the different benefits. Now I'm going to go over the deduction spreadsheet. So if you, let me pass these out. Okay, Diana's going to pass these out. And then on the computer here, you'll see an example deduction spreadsheet. A couple things that I just want to emphasize. Okay. I will say, because I had a meeting with Mallory Schumacher, who is like the VP of Epic, basically. And she's kind of taking over qualities, like she's gonna be the boss of quality, basically. And the vein of my existence and all billing issues stems from this dang deduction spreadsheet. Because if you mess it up, I just want to stress it, like you can't just fill it out and send it off. You can't just fill it out, not double check it, triple check it, and then send it off, because that we've done that in the past and it causes billing issue after billing issue after billing issue. And the payroll lady will say, you sent me this spreadsheet and all I did was input the numbers you gave me. And if we transcribe it wrong or don't give her that right information, it makes us look very unprofessional. It just makes, yes, it's embarrassing. Okay. So, I just want to stress how important this part is. So take it seriously, because we've had reps in the past. They're like, oh, I'm a fantastic enroller. I just wrote $10,000 on a franchise. But then they like care less about the deduction spreadsheet or like the buttoning up part of it. And then deductions don't happen. They start late, all of these things. And it causes like, then you might as well not even have wrote that business. Okay. So deduction spreadsheets are very, very important. Okay. All right, so let me go over just some key things, because this is causes issues. Is if you don't get this spreadsheet to that payroll lady in time, deductions will start late. And if deductions start late, then home office won't get paid. So I want to stress a couple things, semi-monthly and weekly especially. So after you enrolled your 10 people, you wrote your $10,000 of business, woo-hoo, yay. You meet with the payroll lady and you do the what comes next form, which we're not going to go over the what comes next. We'll do blue book and what comes next training. Okay. But on that, when you have that conversation, that the point of that what comes next sheet is you as a new agent or manager, whoever, you're meeting with that payroll person. You're like, okay, great. I enrolled all your employees. I'm leaving here. Like, what comes next? That's why it's called the what comes next form. Yeah.
Can we use that?
Yeah. Because you want to have this meeting with them so you and the payroll person's on the same page. Because if you just leave, you might just assume like, well, of course she knows to start this the first, but does she? Like, did you have that verbal conversation? Did you have her sign something so she knows? That's what this form is, to protect you guys. So you enroll, you go over this form, and on the first line, it says deductions will begin the first pay period of May. We'll just use that as an example. Well, here's some problem. Let's look at our calendar for May. Yep. So what day is May 1st? Monday. Okay. It's okay. Let's pretend this business gets paid on Mondays. And you send her the deduction spreadsheet on Monday, May 1st. Will she be able to get that deducted from the employee's paycheck on May 1st?
2 days before.
Right.
Or 3 days. Yeah.
Okay. So that's going to cause billing issues. Okay. The other thing is semi-monthly is a big one. Semi-monthly is where people get paid twice a month, right? It's usually either the 1st and the 15th or the 15th and the 30th or 31st or whatever, okay? But if it's the 1st and the 15th and you get that spreadsheet to that person on the 1st, again, now you've missed that deduction, again, causes problems. Because here's what happens. Our home office, if you miss a deduction, they will say, oh, just have that franchise double deduct. Do you think an employee, like who's expecting that deduction to be $16 a week, now you're gonna take out whatever, 32, yeah.
Especially.
Is that a surprise for the employee?
Oh.
Yes, and do you think that makes them happy? No, okay? Then with the payroll lady, oh, I'm sorry, you have to double deduct. Guess who has to do that? Do the math, input it, make sure it happens the next pay period and manage that, the payroll lady. Are you putting more work on her? Yes. So we don't want to do those things, okay? So it's so important. This, what comes next for them is just that conversation, making sure, like, okay, so the first pay period in May, ask her, be like, when is that? Oh, it's gonna be May 1st. Okay, well, thank goodness we're having this conversation because that's on a Monday. When do you need me to have that spreadsheet to you at the very latest? Have that conversation. So please write that down. Have a conversation with the payroll lady and say, when at the very least do you need this spreadsheet? And she'll tell you, well, if you get it to me by the 24th, that'll be good. And I get that open enrollment technically is the whole month, but you have to make the payroll lady, you want her to like you. You want to have a fan. She's the one that usually helps you get employees to come see you, manages informing the employees you're coming. Because once you make this a hassle, guess what ends up happening? Then next time we come, she's going to be like, you don't want Liberty National. They're going to be here, but you don't have to see them, because she doesn't want more work on herself. She remembers how much of a hassle it is. So the easier you make her job, make her that relationship good, you're going to have a fan. It's going to make booking that enrollment easier. It's going to make everything so much easier. And that's the relationship you want to have, right? So ask her. No, I know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She's my
She really is.
Give me a minute, Marie.
No, it's too big. I already got it and I texted to you. Marie just wants to learn all she can. No, it's just.
Becca has her hand up.
It's just connected to that. I know.
You crack me up.
It's ready to be called
Okay,
on.
Becca, what? I was gonna finish my thought.
Okay, so since we always say, hey, let us know by Monday or let us know in a couple weeks, so there shouldn't be any, but since it's, let's say the enrollment period does go to the end of the month. And she wants by the 24th and somebody calls you on the 26th and says, hey, I do want it. And they're just like, are you still enrolling? Do you have to tell them no because you promised her?
You have to talk to your bookkeeper. and
So
say,
call her and
is
say,
it
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So just say, well, let me get back to you. I need to call your HR or whoever it is.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Can you guys hear what Diana said?
You should be able to, because I got the big.
Oh, okay, okay. Give me a thumbs up and Casey if you heard what Diana said.
I'll help you.
Okay,
Thumbs down, okay.
Down.
Ew.
Okay, the question was, let's say the payroll lady says, hey, I have to have that spreadsheet by the 24th, but somebody calls you back on the 26th and is like, hey, I decided I do want to enroll in that life insurance. What Diana was saying is you just have to have that conversation with the bookkeeper. If you've already sent the spreadsheet, it's okay to call the bookkeeper and be like, hey, Sarah Smith just called me and it's technically still open enrollment. Are you okay if I get you her deductions late? Because then that bookkeeper is like, well, it's only one person. Like, yeah, sure. Why wouldn't I do that? You know what I mean? Like, again, if you have a good relationship with that bookkeeper, then, I mean, it's just communication. That's all that is. So,
Ask
you
if
guys-
they were talking at the same time.
Could
It only
you-
picks up one.
okay, thumbs up. Okay, good. Thank you, guys.
Well, we have the big microphone, so it means it picks up. It only
And to
picks
be
up.
honest, guys, like when you close that case or when you're dealing with bookkeepers, just be like, hey, I always like, when I do the what comes next, I'm like, hey, communication is key. I'm here to help you. My goal is to make your job as easy as possible. And the better I do that, the smoother this all goes. But I just need to know what's going on. If you see anything wrong with the invoice or my spreadsheet or, just communicate and I'll fix it. And just say, hey, I'll fix it. And like, as long as you have open communication, I have made mistakes, like a lot of mistakes. But because I'm like, hey, I'll fix that for you. And then when they call you or email you and they're like, hey, this is off, fix it as fast as possible and stay in their good graces. What makes them mad is if they email you and they don't hear from you for 2 weeks. Well, then they missed another deduction and it's just like, it's making it into a huge fire. Just get back to them, communicate with them. And when you have that conversation, just say, no, I want to make this as easy as possible for you. Okay. But what I want you to write down is deductions start the first pay period in May. What is the latest you need this spreadsheet? And what I do personally, and this is just, do whatever you want, but this is a tip. I write that date on the top of the what comes next form. So she's like April 24th, I write April 24th, because that goes in my folder. And then if it is a weird date like that, because that's like a week before the first, I'm going to either email myself, put it in my calendar, write it on my to-do list. Like, you don't want to forget that she wants that on the, like, again, you have to do your due diligence to make sure that that stuff happens, okay? But a lot of times, like, let's say they're semi-monthly and they did the 15th and the 30th. She might say, well, I don't even need it till the 5th, you know, and that's fine, you know? But all of your spreadsheets, guys, by the end of the day, the last day of the month, you really should have your spreadsheets done and sent off, okay? It shouldn't really be on the 1st, okay? So I'm just gonna, you guys, because again, this is all the proactive stuff. You guys move up into management and you're managing your account. It's easy when you only have 1 or 2 spreadsheets to send off to manage it. But when you have 20 spreadsheets and this one wants it on the 24th, this one wants it on the 26th, you know what I mean? Like, you've got to kind of stay on top of that kind of stuff. And when you start good habits from like the first closed case and that conversation and making sure it gets buttoned up good, you're gonna prevent a lot of billing issues and losing accounts and all that, because that